Alright, so Apple just came out and announced that they're having a new event on October 30th, which is called the Scary Fast event. Apple already had two events this year. They had WWDC, they had the September event for the iPhones and Apple Watches, and now it looks like we're going to have an October event. We are expecting M3 chip, and also for new products, we're expecting new iPads, new MacBooks, and we're expecting a bunch of different little things as well. Usually in the October events, we do have Mac updates along with iPad updates, but we don't know exactly what we're going to get. We might get surprises here and there. We might get something different this time. All right, so obviously we are expecting a new M series chip. So the M3 chip that's going to be inside new Mac, new MacBooks, new iMacs, new iPads, we're expecting it to be transferred all across the board. We were expecting this new chip to be with the new MacBook Airs, but it doesn't seem that happened. So maybe the MacBook Airs might get updates with the new M series chips, but we are expecting a general chip update with the new iPads and Macs. I was disappointed with the M2 chip update. It wasn't as fast as I was hoping, and obviously the M1 chip is fast enough for a lot of people, but Apple's really talking about the speed this time, not just efficiency. The name of the event is Scary Fast, so I'm assuming that the speed is going to be out of this world and the efficiency is going to stay consistent, but I don't think they're going to really talk about the efficiency this time. I think Apple's really going to go in straight with the power and just flex the power of the M series chips. And as we know, the A17 Pro chip in the iPhone 15 Pro Max and iPhone 15 Pro are able to play console level games. Hopefully we can get focused on gaming this time. Apple do seem to really love to really talk about games in their new events, and they did announce a game mode for Macs, so we can expect that the M series chip or the M3 chip will focus a lot on gaming and flexing the power that it actually has. But it does look like Apple want to go into gaming, so I do think that the M3 chip will focus on power and productivity, but will also focus on gaming, and that's going to be something that's going to be a lot different for Apple. So this M3 chip is going to be in multitude of different products, but the products that I think is going to be announced is going to be a new iMac. The iMac that Apple announced was in 2021 and still holds the M1 chip. So it doesn't even have an M2 chip. So it looks like the iMac is going to skip from M1 all the way to M3. We still don't have an iMac Pro. I'm guessing Apple is skipping over that because the M1 chip was very good. It is really efficient, but when you're using a desktop, you don't really care about efficiency that much. You'd rather just get the most power as possible. So it looks like Apple will focus on having the most power as possible and not so much efficiency. So we might see the M3 chip on mostly desktop Macs. We might still see it on iPads and iPad Airs, but when it comes to the speed and power, they're going to really flex it with the desktops. And with the M1 iMac, we do see that with their marketing, we can tell that the iMac is catered toward casual users, like a family computer, or someone just on Discord or on X or Twitter or whatever, or just scroll through the hub once in a while. But they aren't really made for people that really want power and productivity. M1 iMac or the M3 iMac that's going to come out is probably going to be gaming, because what casual user needs a lot of power is someone that plays games. So I'm assuming that the M3 chip is going to be really focused on gaming, and that's why it's going to be on the iMac, because the iMac is a casual user computer. Coupled with the M3 chip, you're going to be able to play console level games with the M3 chip. I'm even expecting to rival PC level games, but I'm just getting ahead of myself. This is just my prediction. I could be completely wrong, but this is what I'm expecting. The iMac is looking like, to me, is going to be one of the biggest upgrades this year, if Apple does it right. If Apple still gives us 60 Hz monitor, bins the M3 chip for the iMac, thinness of the iMac is going to compromise on the power. If all those things are going to compromise on the upgrade, then it's going to look like one of the lamest upgrades ever. But if Apple gives us everything that we want, 120 Hz, more power, less focus on efficiency, brighter screens, better update, better features, then the iMac update is going to be one of the best updates of this year, like I keep saying. All right, so moving on to the iPad, we did get rumors that the iPad Air was gonna have a 12.9-inch size. And personally, I would have gotten the iPad Air if it had the right size, if it had the newer design at the time that I bought my iPad. I bought my iPad 3 years ago in 2020, and I have the A12Z chip in my iPad Pro, but at the time, the iPad Air did not have the new design, didn't have the new pencil. I think it still doesn't have 120 hertz. I don't think the iPad Air will ever get 120 hertz, but we did get rumors as well that the iPad Pro will get a 15-inch size. And me personally, I think 15 inch is just a little too big. Hey, yo. Pause. But I think that the 15-inch screen size is gonna be something new, I guess, for the iPad. It's not really gonna change the issues that people have with the iPad. People want the iPad to be more like a MacBook or have the functionality to do both. That's why I think that the M3 chip will be a gaming focused chip, and hopefully we can get something that will work towards that, because Apple has been showing us hints here and there that gaming is a priority for them. So the game mode on Macs, the gaming console level games on the iPhone 15 Pros, all these little different things showing me that Apple is trying to lean into the console space. In their minds, the Apple TV, the iPad, their Macs are the devices that you'll use to actually play games. So hopefully Apple do come out with something that actually makes you want to play games on an iPad or a Mac. But let's move on to what else we think is going to be at this event. All right, so speaking of MacBooks, we are expecting a cheap version of the MacBook. So a cheap MacBook for broke people. All right, so we are expecting cheap MacBooks for people. Apple's looking to actually compete with the Chromebook version of Google Chrome laptop. I don't know what to expect. This was a rumor, I think, a few months ago, and we never heard anything else other than we're gonna have cheap MacBooks, and it's gonna be very, very cheap to compete with Chromebooks. If you know anything about Chromebooks, I personally think they're terrible. People might say they're good because that's all they can get, so I'm expecting them to say it's actually good. If it does get macOS and if it does have the M3 chip, then it might actually be a good deal. If the only thing that's going to be cheap is the materials, slap a case on it and call it a day. But if the cheapness comes in from the chip as well, if it gives it the iPhone chip, then you might want to stay away from it. But if it's simply just the body of it and that the chip is actually powerful, you can do your day-to-day task and buy a laptop, an Apple laptop for like $500, $400, then Apple's gonna dominate the cheap sector. So you're gonna be happy because the Apple ecosystem is gonna expand a little bit bigger and you're gonna be able to buy a cheaper laptop. I do expect that the productivity levels is gonna be a lot better with the MacBooks and the M3 chip. So let me know what you think. Do you think that the M3 chip is gonna be announced? Do you think it's gonna be focused on games? And do you think it's gonna be on all the devices that Apple is gonna announce on October 30th? But this was just a video talking about what I expect and what I would like for Apple to really focus on. So hopefully we can get those things done at the event, and let's see what Apple do on October 30th. So see you guys on the next video. Peace.